section on there, and I presume that Paul Lonsdale would like to move that, and it would like to be seconded by somebody, Tim Scandrett. Yanni?
Question of staff.
Who's here for this item? Helen Beaumont?
I understand the logic of removing Plan Change 56 when the rationale previously of council was that it was better that we do that and retain control of that process, given the government's view around a reduction of urban design rather than an increase. So I just couldn't understand the logic of why we would take this out of a council-controlled process and put it into the government-controlled process, given those earlier concerns, particularly in light of the statement of expectation that government have put in place through the Order in Council, which talks about significantly reducing urban design controls.
The district plan, the proposed replacement district plan, will be heard by an independent hearings panel. So that panel is appointed by the government in consultation with the council. So we don't see that as a government-controlled process as such. That is an independent judicial process for those decisions. And this work will be integrated with the replacement district plan provisions.
In terms of the previous rationale, which was basically assumed an identical or a similar process that's already been agreed, it was thought that given the concerns that government had expressed about urban design, and given what we've seen now through the statement of expectation, which have kind of reinforced that, I just really want to understand why we would suddenly be comfortable with this going into that process when before we weren't, and because the process hasn't actually changed that much. In fact, if anything, it's gotten worse for urban design rather than as it was.
Those decisions will still be made by the panel. And the statement of expectations, my understanding is that the panel must take that into account, but it doesn't override the purpose of the Resource Management Act. So the decisions will still be made under the purpose of the Resource Management Act. Okay.
So if we didn't remove 56, if we didn't withdraw it, what is the material effect of that? If we just went and did it as per our normal process that we agreed to, what is the difference in terms of outcomes? And what impact would that have on?
Would we have to hold
district
separate hearings at the same time that the panel was hearing submissions on the others?
We would have to hold separate hearings, and we would also have to notify it separately. Right. So there would be a whole parallel process in terms of notification and consultation, submissions, further submissions and hearings. And it may also cause us problems in terms of consistency with the replacement district plan.
But hasn't it already been notified and submissions have already been held?
Submissions have been received.
But those are all, that's a plan change on the operative plan, and we now have in place a proposed replacement plan.
Right, so it's amending the wrong plan.
So effectively, even if we did this plan change, we would get the current plan having the changes, promoting urban design, and then what you're saying is the current plan that we've got for consultation, because it's different, would have no relationship to urban design.
Well, there may be some difficulties in terms of integrating those two, that's right.
Is there a chapter around urban design in the new district plan review that we're proposing? And if so, what's the schedule for that?
There's not a chapter. So the urban design matters are addressed in the residential chapter as well as in the commercial and industrial chapter. So the urban design matters go across the plan rather than a chapter on their own.
All right.
I have real concerns about this 56 being withdrawn, and I do wish to signal a possible amendment. I'd welcome other councillors' views that we do delete the withdrawal of 56.
Well, I mean, you can move an amendment if you want to. So, Councillor Johansson moves that plan change 56 be deleted from 6.1. Is there a seconder for that view? It fails for want of a seconder. So I'll put the motion. You'd like to speak to the... Yeah, Yanni.
Thank you. Look, I know we're in an odd process with our district plan review, and that we've got an order in council and we've got another process going, but I go back to the original intent of doing plan change 56. Council had this consideration previously about whether it should be something that was put into the district plan review as a priority, and whether it should be done through the land use recovery plan. It was of the view, in my opinion, that it was better to have it done through a council-controlled process rather than putting it to the whim of an independent process, effectively led by government through the order in council or through the land use recovery plan. So I feel really strongly that our community wants good urban design. I know a lot of work went into this plan change in terms of 56. This was the plan change that was hopefully going to give some teeth to the suburban master plans that we spent a lot of time developing with our communities, and I'm just really concerned to see that we would withdraw it. I don't have confidence in the new district plan review, especially with the statement of expectation which the independent panel members appointed by government have to have regard to and take into account that we will get good urban design outcomes. And so I think basically we've got an order in council process that has put a pretty clear expectation that urban design is reduced, whereas I actually think we're much better to get this in place in terms of our own processes so it can be incorporated into the existing district plan. If you want to look at urban design, I encourage people to go up Barbados Street and have a look at some of the new buildings and just look at the kind of lack of urban design and what that does to a city. Areas that should be at the rebirth of our rebuild and our recovery, areas that in the CDC report we heard before, in terms of the objectives of having a well-designed city and taking the opportunities post-earthquake. If you actually look at what's going back without any urban design control in the central city, some of it is pretty concerning and won't do anything really for the benefit of future generations. So, yeah, I won't support withdrawing these plan changes. It's unfortunate that they're not separate in terms of 61 and 56, so I will vote against the whole thing. Again, this is also a lot of work that we've done at a huge expense that we're simply walking away from, and I don't think that's an efficient use of resource.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. Record Yanni Johansson against. That's carried. Thank you.